Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today on StubbleMeetsSteel. My wife had seen some of my razors before and afters on some of the vintage razors that I've restored, and she, was blown away, and she's like, wow, you really should make a video on, step by step exactly what you do to get them to that point. And I'm like, it's pretty simple stuff, babe. It's just brass, you just polish them out, it's not that big of a deal. So, I had another razor up on the counter the other day. I had this one, and the first day that I was sitting up there, I had just, washed it off from eBay and hadn't really done anything with it. The plating had kind of started coming off, and at first I kind of liked the way that it had that old school distressed, you could tell it had been around a while look to it. It had grown on me a little bit, but I just couldn't help myself, and I wanted to see how I could polish it out. So I polished it out, and she's like, wow, it looks amazing. She's like, you got to make a video showing everybody how to do that. She's like, I know it's easy for you, but she's like, if I wanted to do it, I wouldn't know how. So I figured I'd make a video, and what I did is I broke this and edited it down in a couple different stages of how I do every different step. So without further ado, I'll get right into it. And what I did was I got a beautiful Gem Micromatic open comb, and what I noticed is it's a twist to open razor, and the twist to open was a little bit sticky. And so one of the best things that I found for that, other than oiling it, is to first soak it in some just regular old Dawn dish soap and some warm water, and leave it in there for a few hours, work the mechanism, and go from there. So let's start off with that, and hang tight, and I'll start working away, and you can see what I do to get these razors to the point that I do. Okay, so I've had this soaking in just basically a bowl of water here with just a squeeze or two of Dawn dish soap. I got, the water as hot as I could, and I've changed the water out a few times with maintaining some soap, and I've just had it soaking. And that usually helps with anything that's got a twist open mechanism, as when I first got it, it was pretty stiff. It's still a little bit stiff right here, but just by working it and doing it over and over, sometimes that'll loosen some of that up as well. So I'll address that in a little bit. For now, let's go ahead and continue on with cleaning it. So that's basically what we're looking at before we really get started. You can see there's some pretty heavy patina in here on all these little columns and stuff like that, as well as inside it's got a lot of patina going on top cap and on the back and everything as well. So let's go ahead and get started and see what we can do. I'm going to start off with basically just some vinegar and a toothbrush. I like the vinegar because not only does it help to clean, but it's also a very, very potent antibacterial as well. So you kind of get a free twofer in that particular regard. Dipping in some of that water that we had from before with the Dawn and dish soap sitting right there. All right, let's go ahead and open this up. We'll clean in here as well. Toothbrush is really good for getting in all these areas. Soft toothbrush is better than a super harsh one, but you're not going to scratch the brass with the toothbrush unless there's some real dirt and grime in there. But you can't go wrong with a softer one. You're always better to go with something a little bit softer. All right, we'll do one more here, and then I think we're gonna go to the next step. Go to something that's more suited for metal cleaning and polishing. Let's give this a rinse. And already we're starting to come back looking better than we were. That's for sure. We're making progress. Got the underside, the undercap very nice and clean pretty quickly. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and use some of this stuff here. It's basically a metal cleaner and polisher product. I like it because it doesn't have such a harsh smell. I've got some other stuff here that I might use as well, but it's definitely got a more pungent odor to it. Whereas this stuff is pretty nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go ahead and apply it on here. Just like that. Working in with my fingers a little bit as well. Okay, so put this down again. Okay, now I'm gonna go to some Brasso. I do like this product, it does work well. It does have a little more of a pungent smell to it, but I like that it's a little bit, not thinner, but it's not super thick like a Flitz polish is. I find it a little bit easier to work in a little bit. I like to use Flitz as kind of my last step. What I find works really, really well to get in to these little areas like here is some Q-tip action. So I've just got some of that Brasso on the Q-tip there. I just work that in with the Q-tip. All those little nooks and crannies and harder to get areas, the Q-tips really go well in there. place where I find that the Q-tips really shine is areas like this. All right, everybody, so as you can see, here is the final results of basically the toothbrush scrubbing with the Q-tips and those two different products. Everything came out pretty nicely. The twist opens getting smoother and smoother the more we use it. I'll probably put some mineral oil or some hair clipper oil down inside this part and the couple hinges in the area there and see if that helps. But that's basically where we're at right now. So this is basically the final step that I like to do. And I like to just get some Flitz metal polish. This is a 6-inch bench grinder with a buffing wheel on it. And I basically just take the Flitz metal polish and I put it in little dollops like that onto the brush or onto the buffing wheel here. And then before I turn it on, to try to minimize some sling off, which we're inevitably going to get with this setup like this, no matter what we do, I like to just basically kind of rub it in there. And then take whatever, maybe a little bit excess there, put it on the top cap. Okay. All right. Now we'll go ahead and fire up the bench grinder and we'll get the first coat going. Got our sling off of there. This is where the bench grinder really shines, is on areas like this, on these side parts that were really hard to get before. Get them clean in no time. As it keeps getting that tarnish and stuff off, I like to try to keep removing it. I find that that works better than just keep going and going and going and try to clean it. All right, everybody, there you go. And obviously I can just keep going and going and going. I mean, sky's the limit. If you wanted to take like every last little fine scratch and stuff out of this top cap, you could get into 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 grit wet sandpaper for body and paint work and stuff like that. I mean, you know, the sky's the limit, but I'm more than happy with that. Came out really well. So what do you think? How long has this razor been sitting around collecting that patina? 30, 40, 50 years maybe untouched? Hard to say, but for being 1930s, I sure hope I look that good when I'm almost 100 years old. All right, well, thanks for watching. Hope you learned a little bit something. And don't be afraid to get one of these all brass razors. When you're dealing with plated razors, you definitely have to be a whole lot more careful. That's a whole nother bowl of wax. This basically is just for restoration of solid brass razors like this. This is solid brass, this is not plating. So there's no finish to wear through. So keep that in mind. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a little something and enjoyed watching me restore this beauty from 1930s back to its original glory. Thanks for watching. Take care.